Y'all, how are you? I'm so glad to see everybody. It's so great. Thank you all for coming. I keep having this thing that runs through my mind, so forgive me for saying this, but I keep thinking of my favorite line from my favorite song, and I don't know why, but tonight it keeps coming. I look at all y'all, it keeps coming in my mind, and it's, when you love another person, you see the face of God. And I kind of feel that way tonight with all of y'all, who I love so much. This panel is absolutely unbelievable. Their names are, I'm going to tell you that first off, Corinne Matthews, Candace Lafayette, Candice Lafayette. I knew that, I'm reading. Clarice Rankins, who is our leader, and Karen Woolridge.
Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight, and most importantly, thank my fellow sisters here for being willing to engage and being willing to touch on some very, very sensitive areas. We're pretty much going to come from several perspectives, some of them from a poetic stance, some of them from just guttural levels, to talk to you about being a black woman in 2018. And some of it's going to be hard-hitting, some of it may even be funny, but it's real. And so I'm going to start the conversation off with something that I learned as a freshman at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. After having to engage in several incidents there and being part of the African American play that was being done by a young lady who was working on her master's. And this particular poem struck me and has stuck with me since 1968. And it is an alliteration of a poem that originally was written by James Baldwin and was later rewritten by Leroy Jones. And it says, I am a Negro, black like the night is black, black like the depths of Africa. I've been a slave. Caesar told me to keep his doorstep clean, and I have brushed the boots of Washington. I've been a worker. Up from these hands the pyramids rose, and I've made mortar from the Woolworth building. I've been a singer. I've made ragtime, and I have carried sorrow's song. I've been a victim. They cut off my hands in Belgium, and they lynched me in Mississippi. Yes, I am a Negro, for I am black like the night is black, black like the depths of my mother Africa. As a student at the University of Tennessee in the late 1960s, it wasn't a pretty picture. There was a very small number of us there. We weren't always accepted. We weren't always properly engaged. And there were many, many times that we felt the pain of that. There were times when professors were not accepting of us there, and the students weren't either. And I could go on and on and on with various and sundry incidents. But I'm just going to give you one or two that were most impressive for me. To have a philosophy professor whose course you were failing to tell you when you approached him about what you needed to do to try to get your grade up in his class, that you really didn't need to be there because you only had a half a brain. To have a fellow student whose dorm room was set afire because she was black. To have someone run out of the student union building and knock you asunder just because you were standing near the door. To always be disengaged and often go home in tears wondering, should you stay there? Could you make it there? Were you going to be all right there? To have ladies on the Sequoia bus ask you, were you on the wrong bus? Because actually you should be headed to Knoxville College. And when you told them that you were actually going to UT, they often asked and inquired, well, why are you going there? And you had to tell them, because my parents are paying for me to go here. And their refrain to you was, your parents are paying for you to go here? Those are the types of incidents that I had to endure at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville in the late 60s and early 70s. And then from there, we move on to a point of thinking that once I graduated, I could endure and move north, the wonderful, gloriful, golden trail north, only to find and endure institutional racism, where people heard my southern accent on the phone and said, come on down, we got a job for you. And when you get there, people's mouths fall open and go, oh my God. Only to find that they had a black woman walking in the door for that job, and that job was now closed. Those are the types of things that you endure. To turn around in about 6 years to come home, and you think, I'm home now, I'm safe, only to find out that your southern counterparts no longer wanted you back here because they thought that you were one of those Yankees and you thought you were better than anybody else. Those are the types of things that were endured. To be lucky enough or guided enough by some special entity who pulled you into the court system totally by accident because that was not your training, and to go northwest of here to a little small county and meet a little guy who was a sheriff and be somewhat mistreated by his staff and say to him, what am I going to do? And he said, well, I think that little sign in there on that door has my name on it, and you're going to go in there and you're going to sit down and do your job. And that's what I did. And I was carefully cared for by him and the district attorney general there. To be told by my judges when I was often pushed and attacked by attorneys who said to him, to put me in my place, and I would look at him and say, well, where is my place, Judge? And he said, I think your place is anywhere you want it. These are the types of things that I had to deal with. And I weathered those storms and went through those storms and handled those storms and made it through. Only now to be watching my younger brothers and sisters having to return to those same storms again. And that does not feel good. That does not feel good. to have a new environment return that's actually an old environment. To know that that's going to start all over again is not a pretty picture. To know that there are people who still can't get from that, who still can't move from the old start line, is not a pretty picture. I'm not going to take up a lot of time. What we've agreed to as a group is for every lady on this panel to give her version, just a little version of what she's gone through and where she finds her place now. My place now, and I'm going to end here, is fear. It's fear for the young people who are coming behind me. It's fear for where we're headed and for where we're thinking. And I want everybody in this room to think about where he or she may be headed, or he or she may be thinking that this country is headed. I'm not pleased. I'm going to turn the mic over to my sister Karen Woolridge and let her take her few minutes.
Hi. I'm Karen. I'm the great-granddaughter of a slave. I'm from the third black family to move into a neighborhood in Detroit, and I'm from witnessing rapid white flight. I'm from taking an honors English class at Michigan State University and getting a 4.0 and being told the next semester that I'd be happier in the African American lit class that was not an honors class. I'm from having nigger yelled at me from a moving car in suburban Detroit. I'm from having nigger yelled at me from a moving car on Woodmont Boulevard in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm from moving to Brentwood and being told by one neighbor, stop trying to befriend the next door neighbor because they told us they don't want you here. I'm from a fine house that my husband worked hard to obtain for his family, and having the delivery man think I'm the maid. I'm from having the carpet cleaner ask me how I could obtain my home. I'm from asking the principal of a Brentwood school to please stop a child from relentlessly teasing my daughter about her curly hair and being told no. I'm from arriving early to a meeting at work and being told that I was interrupting a KKK meeting. I'm from being asked by a coworker if he could rub my head for good luck. I was from the north, I didn't know what that meant, but I found out. I'm from worrying about my son as he navigates his world and the horror of being told he was tackled by a police officer while standing completely still in a sea of white males, which were his friends. I'm from walking up to a kindergartner in the course of my job with a smile on my face and being told, stay away from me. I don't like any brown people except Michael Jackson. This happened last month. I'm from hurt. I'm from sometimes anger, but I'm not from despair because of people like you. Thank you.
Yes. Can you all hear me? Yes. Hi, my name is Ken Dacey. I am a recent college graduate. Last May, I don't know where I'm going with this. I went to an HBCU, that is historically black college or university, and that has helped me grow tremendously within the past 4 years. I like to say that I'm super black and I'm super woman and all of that. And I say that because I grew up in Columbia, Tennessee, and the population of black people isn't that great. It's not a high number. And I too took a lot of honors in AP classes, and I was like the only black girl in my classes, and it was like a shocking thing, which I don't know why, because I grew up reading a lot of books. So I guess my story is going to be more based on identity and the two different ways I've kind of grown. So with taking honors classes or reading a lot or the way I talk, sometimes people think it's really proper and not how black women apparently talk. It's kind of, I don't know the word. It's kind of annoying sometimes when people are surprised at the way that I carry myself. Or it's kind of like a backhand compliment. It's like, oh, you're so smart and you talk like this and you don't like this kind of music and you don't dress like this, so are you really black? And it's crazy, seriously, like from the 7th grade was the first time I heard someone call me an Oreo. So they're like, you're black on the outside, but you're white on the inside. And I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure I'm all the way black, but I didn't know how to say that back then, so I just kind of went with it. But over the years, all through high school, it's just like annoying. Columbia, Tennessee is like a place where, oh, you're pretty for a black girl is a compliment, and it's really not. I just want people to realize that's not a compliment. We are beautiful. Black women are queens, and we are very magical. So going to an HBCU helped me realize that, which is crazy to go to a school with all these beautiful black men and women who have all these ambitions and goals that they're striving. We're just going to class and we're doing our extracurricular activities, joining organizations, and it was like a culture shock to me. And it's weird because I'm annoyed when people don't expect it from me, but I myself had like become accustomed to not expecting it myself. So it's really made me grow. And I feel like I make people uncomfortable sometimes because I'm really outspoken, even though I'm shy sometimes. Sorry, I'm a little nervous, actually. I had a poem that I was going to read. Okay, this might help guide me a little more. Okay, I Googled this poem. I did not write it, but it's called Black Woman. Black women, with all your might, black woman, you are truly a wonderful sight. Black woman, with your beautiful face, you are definitely a credit to your black race. Black woman, say it loud, being black is being proud. Black woman, in this unbearable land, stop a minute and take your black brother's hand. Black woman, you are mother, woman, and friend. Without a black woman, a black man can't win. Black women, educated and respecting our goals. All these are said but seldom showed. Black woman, be proud of what you are, because it would always take you very far. Black woman, whose foreparents were once a slave, if you apply yourself, you can have it made. Black woman, you are clean, modest, and neat. Believe me, black woman, you can't be beat. Black woman, always watch what you do. Being black makes everyone else watch you. God made heaven, God made earth. Beautiful black woman, consider yourself what God made first. Twitter or Facebook, and Black Girl Magic is like the ultimate hashtag. And we celebrate all of those features that growing up we were kind of like punished for, things that we couldn't control, or having darker skin, or I don't know, it's just fun now. Like, I know we talked about how we felt growing up and how we feel now, and I feel so liberated, and I don't care anymore about the world's opinion of me. It's basically what I feel. So everyone else can keep living in this society where they think the way you look or the way you talk or the way you dress is going to define you. But I just feel like define yourself and live in that. Okay, that's all.
You see all of these women. There are 4 black women. And I'm a human being. You can call me black if you want to, that's fine. But they've got all of these degrees lined up behind their names. And all I have is a degree in life. That's all. I am the 22nd child. The 22nd child. And I didn't have what a lot of you have, but I'm happy. I always knew, and I lived with these 10 little words, if it is to be, it's up to me. That's how I live. I looked at all of these women here with me, and this is spring. And there we go on down to the others who may be summer, and then autumn, and then fall and all that. But I'm winter. I'm the end of all of these women, and where they are now on, I have already been. I've already paid my dues, and I've gotten to the point that now I can rest. I can rest. I can sleep as long as I want to. I can eat whatever I want. I was thinking today about when I was a child, and I lived with 4 of my sisters in a 2-room house. We had a bedroom and kitchen, and we had a double bed and a day bed. And when it got cold, we all got in the double bed and covered up with our coats because we didn't have enough cover. I know what it is to be homeless. My brother came back from the war crazy, and he had a fight with his wife, and we tried to help her, and he put my 3 sisters and me out, and we had to sleep under a tree all night. It's okay. I have never felt pitiful. I've never felt pitiful. My sister, who were older than me, they did whatever they could to help me. I remember one time we needed some food. My sister had a boiler. And at that time, you could go up to the corner market and you could get maybe a nickel's worth of meal, or you could buy a cabbage, and she bought some beans and a piece of meat. We used to put meat in our food to cook things. cabbage and turnip greens and all that. It was good. And so she cooked that food. There were 4 of us now. And we ate, and there was some left over. There has always been and is someone who was there to open the door for me. I have never been, since I got past what would have been the pitiful stage of my life. I knew, like I said before, if it is to be, it's up to me. I worked to my fingers to the bones. My fingertips are numb right now from the work I've done. I always wanted the best for my children. I had 3 children. I now have 2. One of them came back from the war addicted to drugs. I tried my best to save him. He had a massive stroke. He had to be diapered and fed. And then they discovered he had a cancer on his face. And they said to me, we're going to have to take off half of his face. And I said, no, no. And so I gave him up in South Street to Broad. I fought. People were yelling, I want to get off. I had in my purse a little jar of Tussie deodorant. Because, you know, we had always been told that niggas stink. All niggas stink. So I made sure when I went to work and I worked, if I perspired, I wanted to freshen up and put on my deodorant. That day, I took that jar of Tussie. And I said, I'm gonna kill you now. I'm gonna kill you. I mean, people, I was in the aisle, he grabbed my hands and he tried to hold me. I know what rage is. I know what rage is. If I had had a gun or a knife, I would have killed him. I was blind, I was crying, but I have always had it in me to protect myself. And I found a way to do it.
Did you kill them?
No, I didn't. I did everything else. You know, I have since then grown up from that. I'm not violent. I don't fight anymore. I can't. I'm old. You know, and so I know I'm not a nigger. I'm not a nigger. I am a respectable person who loves the Lord. I love the Lord. And I have had to ask God to forgive me for beating that man, because you know those tussie jars were thick. They were thick, and so it was hard on me. Oh, it did lose. But you know, I've learned that with all of your getting, with everything you know, get an understanding. I have come to the point that if you call me a nigga, it's okay. I understand. And I've tried to say to people that these people who have that mentality. That's where they come from. That's what they've been taught that. They don't even know what a nigger is. Everybody who is black is not a nigger. There's some white niggas. There's some white folks that act worse than any of us. That, you know, we need to live together and learn how to get along with each other. And so my degree in life has taught me more than some of you all with all these degrees will ever know. Because in about 6 weeks, I'll be 85.
Oh my goodness.
And so, you know, I've lived a long time. I've seen a lot of things. I've seen many changes. But, as Maya Angelou says, and still I rise. You can say all these things and do all these things to me and say all these things about me. But it's okay, still I rise. I'm going to be here till I die. I'm grateful to you all for coming to hear our stories. I've got a good one. I could tell you a lot. This time up, and so I'm going to say to you, take courage with all that's going on now. Solomon says, what is has been. There's nothing new under the sun. Nothing new under the sun. It's all of this. Just look and read your Bible sometimes. Just get it and go through that and you'll find out people fought like I did. They fought worse than I did. They built golden calves and Moses got mad at them and broke the tablets. And you know, all of this has been. So let's get together, y'all.
If y'all would mind, just each of you, if you don't mind, and if you have something you want to say. I know that Corinne, I know that Karen has told me stories of the new fear that has come in your life in the last year and 1 month or 2 months. And if you have anything you want to share about that, just this thing that you were talking about earlier, I think it would be a good thing to share. I know that Karen was talking about her son and how fearful. So maybe she could start, and I know Corinne has something to say about the neighborhood.
I think things have become bolder. I think the kindergartner last month who told me, stay away from me. I don't like brown people. I think that I've experienced a lot of racism. I've told you some of the stories. But usually racism in children, and I was a teacher for a long time. So I've heard racism from black kids, I've heard racism from white kids. But it's usually innocently told. But the boldness with this child who said, stay away from me. I don't like brown people. And I was so shocked and I said, what did you say? Stay away from me. I don't like brown people. I think is a reflection of what's going on. I think that when my son, who's standing in the back of the room, during the election time, was walking down Nashville, in downtown Nashville, Tennessee, and someone shouted at him, make America great again. We're making America great again, that was not a compliment. And as a young man, and my daughter who's here, my kids have enjoyed downtown Nashville because we know it's a fabulous place. But never before this year have they been greeted with things like that. I was involved in a car accident right outside of, it was Davidson County, but in the Belmead area. And a young student hit me from Montgomery Bell Academy, who spoke to me in a manner that while we were waiting for the police, that I called 911 back and said, I want you to know how this young man is speaking to me. And I'm going to go into the store because I feel concerned. He went to Montgomery Bell Academy. And then when the police officer came, he spoke to that young man first. And when I walked up to him, he said to me, don't you walk up on me like that. I said, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to startle you. He said, well, with all that's going on now. And so, you know, I said, I'm concerned about the way that this young man has spoken to me. He said, you know, that's just teenagers. And I said, I've raised 3 of them. I don't believe any of them have ever spoken to an adult like I've spoken to. So these are all the things that have happened since the election. And I think that people are just feeling that now they can be bold because they have spokespeople who agree with them in very, very high places in this country. And I'm fearful. So I have a grandson who attends Brentwood Academy. And the day after the election, a group of boys had a sign that said the Trump train. And they walked by the area where the black children studied together in the morning with their sign that said the Trump train. And I like to point out that my grandson is not there on minority scholarship. He is there because his parents have worked very hard to be able to send him to what they thought would be a good experience for him. So it's these kinds of things that I feel have happened since the election, that where people just feel like now that they're emboldened, that they can be bold with their racism. Thank you.
I could go on and on.
Just a minute with us.
There are multiple things that have happened since the election. Things like people who walked up and accused me of quote unquote signing up illegal aliens, which I never knew we had any. Because I do a lot of voter registration stuff, you know. That type of thing. I've had people who walked up and walked across a room, a sea of men who had hats on, and you know I wear hats all the time, who asked me to remove my hat as a woman in a building. Just crazy things. I had a young man a couple of days ago over at the Fulton complex who tooted his horn to tell me that I needed to move out of the parking space so that he could move into it. Just amazing things that I never would dream that I'd be going through at this point in time. But we could go on and on and on. I mean, just total insanity. It's like people get up every morning, get a glass of water, and take their insanity pill.
I live in a segregated neighborhood. Now, I moved in 1964. Of course, the signs went up. Everybody took off that didn't look like me. There were 3 of us. They all took off, running from poor me. I wouldn't hurt nobody. I just wanted a decent place to live. But now, you know, I'm kind of scared to sit on my front porch. I don't know where somebody is going to come out with a sheet on, with holes in it and all. I don't feel safe to walk in my neighborhood. I just don't feel safe. I do not sit on my front porch that I have paid for, because I never know who's, you know, we have all these Airbnbs and all that kind of stuff, and there's always somebody different coming all the time. So I'm scared of folks now. I used to be comfortable in my neighborhood. And so I've got to find somewhere to walk. I'm old, I need exercise. But I'm scared to walk in my neighborhood. So, you know, it's too bad that we can't see each other as friends and be friends and feel loving and kind toward each other. But that's kind of past, because things are so different now. And I'm, as old as I am, I ought to be able to rest and walk and do anything else I want to do. But, you know, it's going to be all right. And there was a road that didn't have an end. And so, the older I get, the tireder I become. I may not need to walk. I may need to just sit and rest. I've earned the right to rest now. I'm thankful that I can rest, that I can do whatever I want to do. I've earned the right. So we're going to be all right, y'all. We're going to love each other. God loves us all the same. He don't love Ken any more than he loves me. You think so, Ken? Ken is my friend.
We got one last question here, I think. Right here.
Who is it?
One in the center back here and one right here.
Who is it?
Oh, I go ahead. I have a question for you guys, because I keep thinking, I thought about, I was as shocked as anybody when 45, thank you very much, won the election. But I sort of feel like that thing where things happen because they're supposed to happen. And I just think that I'm hopeful. As frightened as you all are, I am frightened a lot of days, but some days I think, I look at you guys, and I think if all of us had this much of your courage and what you've done in the face of all this adversity, that gives me hope. And I think we're at a tipping point. And it may not be right now, but it's coming. Within the next 10 years, I think change is big. Stop it! No, you won't. No, you better stick around. No, you won't. But seriously, I think about, you know, like the civil rights, and then you guys, some of you have lived through that, and I think, you know, it just feels similar to me. It's like, you know, you said it was never really gone. The prejudice has never really gone away. It's just kind of come to the surface with the ugliness that's around. And I sort of feel like this had to happen so we could acknowledge it.
I think so.
And I wonder if you're hopeful. As frightening as it is, I wonder, do you go, but you know, you look around and you think, how many people, how many women of color, how many men who are feminists, you know, are going, this is not okay, and are getting involved. You know, I've gotten involved. I was never involved before. I won't lie, I never was. And I feel hopeful. And I feel hopeful because of you, frankly. And I hope that you do too, because I think it's not going to be real soon and it's not going to be easy. But I'm hopeful. I think that we almost had to be shaken again to go, this is not okay. And anyway, I'm hopeful.
Yeah, I have a friend named Bernice Davidson, who's a Jewish woman and an artist. And she did a mural in Lawrenceburg about the Thurgood Marshall, Alexander Luby, came and saved the lives of 25 black men who were accused of rioting in Colombia. And she is also doing, she believes that art should heal the wounds that our subconscious, our racism, our terrible inequality in this country that we talk about being so equal. It's a time for us to heal our subconscious and to say we're sorry and to bless the people that have suffered. And tonight, she's in a black church in Spring Hill with some of her paintings of the lynched people being blessed by angels. And I think, watch out for this, because she's coming around to all your schools with this. She feels that unless we address this, we will never solve the subconscious that is keeping us all from being real and not being afraid. And that's, I think, I just had to bring her name forward.
Clarice, do you want to close up or what?
I just want to thank everybody for being here and listening to us tonight. We could go on and on and on. I just want you to try to take something away from what we said. Some of the things, like I said, will be funny, and some of the things are not funny. But my hope is that everybody leans on hope and tries to understand that some of us came here on well, all of us, I guess, at some point genetically came here on a ship. Some of us came here on one kind of ship, and some of us came here on another kind of ship. There's one thing about it, I'm not going back on a ship. The bottom line is I plan to stay and hold the ground.
Yeah.